Okay, everyone, please be seated. Councillors, I'll just wait for our minute taker. Do the recordings, please.
Councillors, staff and members of the public have been advised that this meeting was recorded for on-demand audio download via Moree Shire Council's website, and a person's voice was recorded and broadcast via this means. In certain circumstances, this meeting may have been live streamed for viewing, and a person's image and voice would be recorded and broadcast via this means. Any person who attended this meeting is deemed to have consented to their image and/or voice being webcast. All speakers at the meeting have been advised that they should refrain from making any defamatory comments or releasing any personal information about other individuals without their consent. Council accepts no liability for any damage that may result from defamatory comments made by any person who attended this meeting. All liability will rest with the individual who made the comments. This meeting was not recorded by others unless the prior written consent of Council, in accordance with Council's Code of Meeting Practice, was obtained as noted in these minutes. Any part of this meeting that was held in closed session will not be recorded or accessible to members of the public. Please be advised that an audio recording of all council and committee meetings is taken and placed on Council's website within 7 days of the meeting. Recordings will be available to any member of the public to access for a period of 12 months, at which point they will be destroyed. Webcasting of council and committee meetings by way of audio recording is required to meet Council's obligations under the Local Government General Regulations 2005. No one is able to request alterations to the content of any recording. You should consult Council's policy on webcasting of council and committee meetings for further information on this matter, or alternatively refer to the signage displayed here. Emergency response and general housekeeping. In the event of an emergency, the only emergency exit for this floor is through the double doors at the back of the committee room. The staircase from the restaurant to Baylow Street is the only exit out of the building once through these doors. The Mac Centre assembly point is at the corner of Heber and Frome Streets, in front of the art gallery, unless notified differently from the building chief or acting chief warden. There is a first aid kit located in the chambers and small basic first aid kits in each of the emergency response bags located in both rooms. If you use or take anything out of any of these kits outside of an evacuation, please notify your designated emergency warden as soon as possible. All doors and walkways are to be kept clear of any obstructions at all times. If the floor loses power, the emergency exit lights will be illuminated.
Well, welcome everybody to our ordinary council meeting for the 18th of September. And a very warm welcome. We've got a number of community members in our public gallery today. Today is one of the 2 times a year where council provides the community with the opportunity to address council on any matter. And I believe we've got 4 registered speakers presenting to us today. So welcome to everyone. And to those who are going to speak, I will come to you a little bit later. We have a few just standing agenda items to get through first. So we'll just get through that business and then we'll come to the public forum. Before we begin, Deputy Mayor, would you like to, who's doing the acknowledgement? Councillor Williams is going to do the acknowledgement to country for us. Thank you.
Moree Shire Council would like to acknowledge the Gomeroi people that are the traditional owners of this land. Council would also like to pay our respects to the elders both past and present and emerging, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders who are present here today.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Councillor Hodgkinson, would you read the prayer, please?
Yes. Let us pray for the health, well-being and security of our Shire. Let us pray for the health, well-being and respect of the traditional owners of our land, past, present and of the future. Let us pray for the health, well-being and safety of our emergency and essential service providers. Let us pray for the health, well-being and wisdom of our medical and education providers. Let us pray for the health and well-being and give thanks to our families that support us in making honest and strong decisions for the benefit of all in our communities. Amen.
And thank you very much, Councillor Hodgkinson. So I believe we've got all councillors in attendance today, which is excellent. So no apologies, no leave of absence. Councillors, are there any requests for leave of absence? Councillor Mailer?
So the 10th of October to the 10th of November.
And we just need to articulate in that whether that covers a council meeting. So that would cover the October council meeting. Minute taker, did you get those dates? 10th to the 10th. Yeah, 10th of October till 10th of November it was for Councillor Mailer. Yeah.
If it's wet, I'll come.
Yeah, if it's raining, he'll come. Councillor Sawyer?
I will request by the usual channel to join the next council meeting on 16th of October by audio visual link, but requesting a leave of absence from Monday, the 20th of October through to the 20th of November. Harvest. In 2 states.
20th to the 20th. Minute taker, please.
So that includes the November council meeting.
Yep, includes the November meeting. Any other councillors with leave requests?
I think one should already be in there.
Yeah. Would someone like to move that we accept those leave of absence requests? Councillor Ty, second. Councillor Hodgkinson, all those in favour?
Aye.
Aye, declared carried. Thank you, councillors. We have no request to attend via audio visual link because everyone's here in person. Councillors, you should have received a copy of our ordinary council meeting minutes from the 21st of August. Would someone like to move those minutes be accepted, please? Councillor Castle, seconder. Councillor Williams, all those in favour?
Aye.
Aye, declared carried. Thank you. Councillors, do we have any disclosures of interests for reports on the agenda today? Yep.
I've uploaded mine.
Okay. So we have some already uploaded. Please, Ms. Eden. Were there any other declarations of interest aside from Councillor Hodgkinson's?
I've got one just to speaker in the gallery, if I may.
Yeah, so did you lodge it on the system?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll come up. Councillor James?
22.2, as my children are members of the clubhouse, so it's non-pecuniary,
So a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in 22.2 being the Moree Tennis Clubhouse reinstatement. Okay, are we able to bring up those other ones on the screen, please, Ms. Eden? Councillors to review. So Councillor Hodgkinson has declared a non-pecuniary interest in which report, Councillor Hodgkinson? Sorry, I'm struggling to read that.
The 22.1,
Okay, so a non-significant,
non-significant, non-pecuniary.
yes, and yours is a
Same nonsense.
non-significant, non-pecuniary, and same with Councillor James's. Excellent. Would someone like to move that we accept those declarations of interest? Councillor Sawyer, Councillor Castles, all those in favour?
Aye.
Declared carried. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. With that, we come to our public forum. So welcome to everyone who showed up for our public forum today. As I hope our team have advised you, it's not a perfect way for us to engage with the community. We've heard your feedback, that this is a particularly clunky way for us to hear from the community, but this is as it is in the middle of an ordinary council meeting, there are specific rules, etc., that apply. So, this council has heard the feedback, and we are keen to make sure that there are better ways for the community to engage with us in the future, us to engage with the community and have a more informal discussion on matters. But as it is a council meeting, there are specific rules that relate to this forum. So speakers are able to speak to up to 3 minutes, and we welcome you to come and sit up at the table. As such, you will be on the audio visual recording, which is being webcast. Last time we did have 51 people viewing from home. So hello to the people who are viewing. So yeah, if you can step forward when we call your name, if you can please state your name, and if you are speaking to, there are some people in our gallery today who are speaking to specific reports. If you can advise what report you're speaking to, if you are speaking to a specific report. Otherwise, come forward, state your name, and you can address us on the matter of your choosing. All right, well, with that, we would love to welcome Ms. Leslie Barclay not to the stage, but to the council table first.
My name's Leslie Barclay, and I'm speaking to our developmental application for the granny flat for my mum. I'm here to apologise. Although our intention wasn't to do anything unlawful in installing the granny flat without requesting a DA prior to it, we had thought that we had followed the rules. We consulted, and my mum called the council and was advised that she didn't need to have a DA because it was a transportable property. I don't know whether that was a miscommunication or what happened with that. So she went forward with that. After I looked at the website, we believed that 0.9 metres from the fence was the correct distance. However, we didn't realise, because we're on a corner block, that it needed to be significantly further than that distance. Yeah, so my mum had been wanting to move to Moree to live with family after my father passed away. It is for personal use. And when we realised that there was, I had a niggling feeling last year that maybe we'd missed some paperwork. So I asked Mum to go in, and she spoke with Leanne and was told she did need a DA. We could apply retroactively and filled in the paperwork, but I don't know what happened to the paperwork. It wasn't stamped. And we got a letter in January saying that we had illegally installed the granny flat. So we tried to move forward with retroactively applying, and I'm really thankful to Pam Campbell for all her support in doing that application. And we've basically been told that it is too close to the fence and that we need to move it. From what I understand, there are two major issues. One is the non-compliance, and the other is that it is visually displeasing. I did have two photos, one showing from the east approach that you can hardly see the house because of the jacaranda tree that has been placed there. From the west approach, it is fully visible. We would like to work with the council to approve the site of the granny flat if it is displeasing. We did consider bamboo, but apparently that's not okay. My husband is an art teacher. He would be able to paint a mural on it to make it more visually attractive. The other thing I thought, I was walking back from the PCYC the other night, and I thought because of the jacaranda tree where it's placed, it does conceal the house on the nature strip. I was wondering if we at our own cost could maybe plant a more mature tree a little bit more on the other side in order to make it more visually attractive. To the issue of compliance, I understand you don't want to set a precedent and have people illegally install buildings on their property. I was wondering if I could request, if it's not okay to keep it there, perhaps if you want to address the issue of compliance and maybe fine us instead. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barclay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next we have Mrs. Kylie Smith. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Welcome to everyone here today. Nerve-wracking, but anyway, we'll get there. Okay.
Tougher crowds.
Sorry.
You've had tougher crowds.
I know.
Hang on, can we restart that, because hasn't actually been able to start talking.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Kylie Smith, and many of already know who I am. I'm a big supporter of everything local. I'm here today to discuss Moree Council's recent appointment of out-of-town contractors as preferred contractors to engage in the completion of the flood recovery works from the 2022 flood event. I'm very upset that Moree Council would go down this path to employ out-of-town contractors to do this job. Moree has many very capable contractors, including my husband and myself, who have run a successful business for over 27 years. And prior to that, my husband worked on council. Our work has always been held in high regard by council and other people that we've worked for. I'm dumbfounded that this has been passed and allowed to go ahead, actually, because I think the point of the local council is to promote local business and community. Council had the opportunity to change what the former Director of Infrastructure had implemented during his tenure at Moree Council. This is taking away work from the local contractors, who in turn employ local people who all live here, pay rates, contribute to the local economy in lots of ways. Moree Council already knows the results of getting some of these out-of-towners to do work, as the Kaluna road job, which I brought up at a past council meeting. It's a total mess. The cost was just blown out. That road could have been completed by local contractors like us. And then council also had to pay a variation fee at the completion of that job, and then go towards the cost of some crack ceiling repairs. We as local contractors were invited to apply for that tender, but requirements were only suited to companies. This again was from the former Director of Infrastructure, and I just don't think that's fair on local business people. I'll also refer to the netball courts at Harborne Oval. That's a lot of money for a job that's not even good. It's unusable after rain. Now, the local roads, you have to understand the frustration of many landholders, and many of them going on. Their roads are a disgrace. They're often impassable, and these farmers can't run their business to get produce to town. The children can't get to school in wet weather, and we're on the cusp of a record-breaking harvest. And should we get rain, it's just going to be a nightmare. And I actually had David Statham from Sundown Pastoral call me this morning to ask what's going on. Why aren't we or the council guys working on the roads, getting things ready for harvest? Now, getting back to the out-of-town tenders, during the 2012 flood event, the recovery work were handled.
We're out of time. Can you just wrap up quickly, please?
Yeah, I haven't got much to go.
Yeah, thanks.
They were handled in-house by council staff, which included Kelly, Dennis Person, Stephen Botfield. They did a great job running the project, and the money value was actually much higher than the 50 million that's proposed for this latest flood event. So I can't see a problem in council running this work. It's concerning that the council and executive staff feel that they can't handle the 50 million. This is an obscene amount of money, with the exact words that were spoken to me at the pre-tender meeting. I don't think 50 million is in comparison to the road network that needs repairing. I'm pretty sure the landholders aren't going to be happy with that, with all the levels of administration it's going to have to go through. And local contractors have a good rapport with farmers, and we got local knowledge. And the big tier companies have no interest in our local communities. They just want to come in, make their money and leave. If this budget can't be handled in-house, are we missing something with what's going on? Proterra from Gundawindi was employed after the 2021 flood event. I know that they had all the information, the photos, and all the correlation had been done for this funding to go ahead. I can't see why the asset manager of road and infrastructure can't run this along with some of the guys from the depot. I feel confident council has employees who are capable.
Okay, if I can please get you to wrap up.
Yeah,
please.
I'm getting there. I'm nearly
Yeah, we're just.
vendor panel should be used to source contractors. This is in the past. It has always worked. Gundawindi Council's just engaged Proterra to run their flood recovery, so I can't see why. In conclusion, my solution to the problem is undo this decision, reinstate immediately all local contractors, and that all correct procurement procedures be followed. Support the local community, which is the correct thing to do. And yes, it's just concerning that things aren't happening, and it's just, it's not fair on local contractors. We want to keep our money local, spend local, employ local, and we're just beating our head against a wall.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Smith. Just for your benefit, I do have there's a Merrill minute specifically about roads. So if you want to hang around, you might want to hear that Merrill minute.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hang around for
Yeah.
a while.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Smith.
Thank you. So thanks to, so we've just got one more actually. Yeah. So Mrs. Morbell, please, if you could come. You could come up, state your name, and then speak to the matter.
Liz Morbell. I live on the Back Pally Road. I've lived here for 49, nearly 50 years. I want to address the council about the debacle that is the Moree bar. My youngest son is 40 years old. I spent a lot of time at the baths when he was in primary school swimming. He swam competitively. I go back to a certain member of council in those days who came up to me and said to me, this is my vision for the Moree baths. And I said to him, we're going to stuff the whole procedure up. He went ahead, he did it, and he stuffed the whole procedure up. Excuse the French. I could get worse. I have 3 proposals for Moree Council. You mightn't like it, but you people are batting on a very wet wicket and you are sinking fast. Proposal number 1, you buy the 2 houses on the other side of the lane where the current baths are. You then put in a 50-metre Olympic pool. Proposal number 2, forget a 50-metre pool because you're dreaming if you think we're going to get the competitions. Nobody wants to come here until the law and order situation is finally finalised in this town. It's out of control. People won't come here. Put a 25-metre pool in. Put a submersible pump in, put a drain in. I had a long meeting with Paul Wild yesterday. I spent a lot of time at that pool. I know how the pool is. Proposal number 3, sell the whole complex to private enterprise. Because let's face it, when it comes to council managing business, you're hopeless. I don't care what you say. The councillors are all business people. The people that are working for council, it's yes, minister. And it's gone on for years and years and years. It is well known that a certain member.
Excuse me, sorry for 1 second, Ms. Morbell. A councillor has called a point of order. I just have to take the point of order under the code of meeting practice. Councillor James.
Being disparaging towards staff and council.
Yeah. Ms. Morbell, sorry, we just need to be mindful that, yeah.
It's a well-known fact that somebody who still works for council was telling somebody, we only tell the councillors what they need to know.
Okay.
Point of order again.
Councillor James is just calling a point of order. We can't allow comments in the chambers that are, there's no protections against defamation in the chambers. So it's largely for our community members' benefit and others' benefit that we just have to be mindful about comments about staff. So,
Okay.
but we'll allow you to continue, but if you can try and refrain from, I think you can make broad comments, but just yeah.
I could even name names if you want me to.
Look,
Okay,
yeah.
so those are my 3 proposals for the council. We have an issue, I know that. What's the name? I think you people are batting on a very wet wicket, as I said.
Yeah.
You need to resolve this pool. You've got one little pool working over there. The people that are over there, John Wild won't work for you because you're so useless.
Point of order.
Yeah,
Yeah,
point of order. I've had enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Morbell. All right. That's the extent of our registered speakers.
Is there any?
Yeah. Are there any other members of the public that would like to address the council? No other members of the public that would like to address the council? No. Well, with that, we will close our public gallery. I just want to say a personal thank you, though, to people who do come and address, coming to these meetings and sitting at the table and in a very formal environment, and also I suppose with the recently added extra bit of the fact that it's actually being live webcast. We appreciate that you're taking time out of your day to come. We appreciate that it can be a nerve-wracking experience, and we also do actually appreciate your frank and fearless comments and feedback, and we do need to hear it. We need to hear from. And yeah, just a thank you for taking time out of your day and coming and speaking to us. I also probably just want to mention that, also, there are many ways you can also get in contact with councillors. All the councillors' phone numbers, for instance, are on the page. If you ever want to call, you can do so. All our email addresses are also there. If you don't want to come and speak to a public forum, there are other ways to also get in touch with us. But look, I think the councillors all agree that, you know, we want to engage better with the community, provide less formal opportunities to do so we can actually have a better back and forward discussion, because I think we all know that a lot of the best solutions to problems, including problems with the council, actually often come from our community. So thank you all for coming and for speaking to us today. You are all very, very welcome to come and stay for the rest of our business. I might ask, we've just got to, so I'll get through the mayoral minute, but I might also ask for the Barclays, we might ask that we move the report forward for you, so that if you'd like to hang around, you can hear our discussions regarding the report. So I've closed the public forum. So we just have a couple of little things to get through before we come to those reports. Acceptance of late reports. I think we just have one, do we? Yes, so just the Civic Precinct project contract procurement update. Would someone like to move that we accept that? Councillor James, seconded Councillor Mailer. The late report is the confidential audit risk improvement committee chair. Are you still happy to move that, Councillor James? Yeah. Councillor Mann, are you still happy to second that? I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Declared carried. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any items that can be dealt with by exception?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
On my printed, it's 16.1, which is the resolution register.
Is there any dissent on that one, councillors?
I think we should say something on that.
Yes, Councillor Castles.
To you, Madam Mayor, I think Councillor
James, did you have dissent on that one?
No, I just wanted to say something on that resolution register.
Okay, so we'll remove it.
No.
Okay, yep.
Okay, thank you. 16.2, which is the councillor induction wrap up.
I've got dissent on that.
Okay.
Yep. 17.1, development application, use of the unauthorised transportable building for the purpose of a secondary dwelling. I think we're going to talk about that. Yep, talk about that one. Next one is the draft of voluntary planning agreement, which is 17.2.
Any dissent? No.
That's with our best.
Correct.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. There's no dissent.
18.1, village landfills upgrade to waste transfer stations.
Any dissent? No. We want to discuss it? That looks dissent. I'm just a bit confused whether that's dissent or dissent-ish.
I think it's worth discussing.
Okay, yeah, we'll leave that.
Yeah. 19.1, outcome of expressions of interest for the community representation on council advisory committee.
We can't put that through by exception. We need to choose the two people.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the next one as well. The 19.2, which is the monthly finance report.
Yeah.
For
Any
the
dissent?
month ending August.
Any dissent? No.
Next one is 19.3, cash investments and restricted funds as at 31st of August.
Yeah. Any dissent? No.
No. Sorry about turning the pages, people.
That's all right.
And all the rest are confidential.
Okay. So the proposal is to move the following
What
by.
about 19.4?
I think 19, I've got dissent. I don't have dissent. I just think being financials.
Yes, so that's our draft financial.
No, that's the draft one.
Yeah.
No, we've got,
So,
that wasn't by
okay.
exception. No, no.
Okay, so 16.1, 16, 17.2, 19.2, 19.3. So we're moving those ones by exception. So you're happy to move that way, Councillor Castles?
Yes.
Do I have a seconder for those? Councillor Ty, all those in favour?
Aye.
Aye, declared carried. Thank you, councillors. Okay, would someone like to move that we bring report 17.1 forward? Councillor James, second Councillor Ty, all those in favour?
Aye.
Aye, thank you, declared carried. Do you know what? Yeah, before that though, unfortunately, I do have to do my mayoral minute first, but actually I'm happy for that to come before my mayoral minute. That's fine. Can we do that? Can we do that, General Manager? We just moved to bring that report forward. Is it, and I can still do my mayoral minute after that? Okay, I do have to do my mayoral minute first. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I'll try and do it quickly. Okay, so we're moving on to mayoral minutes and then that will be the first report in our normal agenda. So councillors, and probably touching on some of the comments from Mrs. Smith earlier, I think we are all aware that our roads are still in a pretty horrific condition. We have now been councillors for a year, and I think a lot of us heard during our election and have heard repeatedly whilst we have been councillors about our landholders, rural residents' concerns about the state of our roads. I know that we do have some works coming up, including flood works, which should deliver quite a significant body of work and improvement on the roads. However, I think we also have to acknowledge that it's time for a bit of a strategic rethink in terms of how we do our roads. So what I have proposed, and this is no slight on our team, this is, I've got a physical copy if anyone wants a physical copy of the notice of motion. I'm sorry, the Meryl. Thank you. Actually, can I keep one? So ordinarily, a council should have a roads asset management plan. It is a requirement by the local government that we have asset management plans for all our asset classes. Unfortunately, Moree Plains Shire Council has not had a dedicated roads asset management plan for as long as I've been involved with the council as a staff member and now also as a councillor. I think we are seeing the result of that. And so what my mayoral minute is calling for is a couple of things. So it's so that we take a review, do a strategic review of our roads and how we're doing it, how our procurement practices, how we're sourcing materials, etc., and do a whole scale review of all of that, and lead that in and work with our team, our councillors, our new Road Network Advisory Committee, but also engage with contractors, etc., in undertaking that review, and then developing a raft of recommendations out of that review and formulating the the roads asset management plan. In addition to that, this council has recently adopted a new self-help program, which is designed to basically provide a mechanism for willing rural residents or businesses who want to chip in essentially and help and augment council's works, a way to do so. For instance, if there's a grader going past your house and you go, actually, can we put a bit of gravel down so that that grader can actually, improve some extra sections, a mechanism to do that. So I'm also asking, there are a couple of applications underneath that program. They have not been assessed. And there is some urgency. So I'm also asking for the General Manager to please expedite review of those applications, which could actually go a bit of a way to reducing that very local need. And in addition to that, I'm also asking if the council agrees that that the General Manager also considers options to scale up the current urgent works across the Shire, because we know we are about to hit, hopefully, one of our very best, if not the best harvest ever, and look at ways if there's any way that we can, you know, clear those pinch points, especially on our roads, and make it more trafficable. So I have provided you all with my mayoral minute. Is there a seconder for my mayoral minute? Councillor Mailer, would you like to speak at all to Councillor Mailer? As appreciate your seconding, especially as the chair of our Road Network Advisory Committee. No? Okay, I'll put the mayoral minute. All those in favour? Aye. I've declared carried. Thank you, councillors, and thank you, Ms. Cowley. That's done. Thank you. So now we will move on to our body of reports, and the first one which we've brought forward being 17.1, being development application DA 20255. Thank you.
Through the chair, this application was reported to council for two reasons. One, it commenced as unauthorised. Secondly, the extent of the variation requested to the side boundary setback from 4 metres to 1.5, which is a 62.5% variation of the development standard. The transporter was installed on site, I think, around August last year. So council became aware of it and wrote letters in December, and the proponent then lodged the development application, which has been in assessment. In terms of assessing the justification for it, the reason the report recommends it would set an undesirable precedent is the reasons presented for varying the standard and for such a significant variation fail to address the performance outcomes which council has established in its development control plan as the outcomes sought in terms of the side boundary setback. And without that adequate justification, the recommendation is it would be an undesirable precedent going forward.
Councillors, this is actually the first time councillors have seen this matter. As such, would someone like to move that we go into committee of the whole? Councillors might have some questions. Councillor Sawyer, seconded Councillor Castles. All those in favour? Aye. Aye. Declared carried. Thank you. Councillors. Councillor Sawyer?
Yes, good point for clarification. Mr. Fitzgerald, if the DA is rejected, what does that mean for the landholder?
Through the chair, the process we follow, council supports the recommendation, is we would write to the proponent asking them to remove the transporter building. We would prefer to negotiate with them, and I've previously indicated I think a reduced setback could be justified. But at 1.5 metres, it simply doesn't allow adequate space for any landscaping to be installed. And I think any condition we imposed on an application in that regard, we wouldn't be able to enforce. So we would hope to negotiate an outcome with them, but if they didn't want to relocate it and set it back to at least 3 metres, we would go down an orders pathway.
Other comments, questions, councillors? Councillor James?
I have seen worse developments than this, closer to the fence. Under 25 metres squared, is it?
Can't tell you the floor off the top of my head.
It looks like it's under 25 square metres. Can you advise what clause in the development plan requires it to have a DA, given that it is 1.5 off the fence and it's under 25 square metres?
It's not exempt development under the state policy.
Due to?
Well, simply transportable buildings are not exempt development. This is a habitable dwelling. It's not exempt development under our LEP. It's not exempt development under state policy. It requires development consent. Floor area doesn't come into it in that regard.
Councillor Ty?
Sure. So if we work with the property owners to get it back to the 3 metres, is that achievable in a time frame for them to, if they follow all the correct procedures and documents?
Through the chair, I think a 3 metre setback would probably be a reasonable outcome. I can't give a commitment to that.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Ms.
Through the chair. Mr. Fitzgerald, can you explain the landscaping side of it for me? Like, What you said earlier about there's not enough for landscaping, what's that all about?
Oh, well, in terms of the performance outcomes that council's adopted for side boundary setbacks, it's about achieving a reasonable streetscape. So hence the 4 metre setback. It would allow softening of the streetscape. Even though there's a fence there, if the fence was removed, it allows adequate landscaping to be installed. The buildings are set consistent with other setbacks through the street at 1.5 metres. It wouldn't be reasonable to put in any vegetation of any significant height to soften the impact of the building.
It wouldn't be.
Wouldn't be.
So when she was talking about bamboo, that wouldn't, like, blocking it off, that wouldn't suffice. Like a 4 metre, 5 metre bamboo.
Through the chair, I mean, bamboo will grow in a narrow space. Various species of bamboo are very invasive.
I actually have a hedge of bamboo at my home. It was quite large and it's clumping bamboo and it's not invasive at all. So
Yeah, no, look, through the chair, I've used bamboo in my own place for landscaping. But as I said, in itself, it doesn't address the performance outcomes for the development standard. In terms of maintenance, hedging it or letting it grow, no.
like I said, I do have one and I have none of those concerns.
Councillor Hodgkinson?
Yeah, from what I can gather, this is just what I took on. The Mr. and Mrs. Barclay have obviously tried to work with council, and obviously there's not an agreed outcome yet. That's very, very clear. There's not an agreed outcome yet. For me, given that they've expressed that they would like to work with council, I would like to see Mr. and Mrs. Barclay and council work together to find a solution, rather than us sit at a table and we've only just received, this is the first time we've dealt with this matter. Rather than us just saying, nope, we're refusing, I would much rather council and Mr. and Mrs. Barclay work together to achieve an outcome that is in line with the DCP and is compliant, but that, rather than put them through needing to remove it, I think that we try and work with them to actually reach a good solution. I'm not saying set a bad precedent, I'm saying work with our community members.
Look, I'd probably echo some of your sentiments, Councillor Hodgkinson. Just also, I suppose probably I'd like a little bit more information. It does sound like the Barclays have made approaches to council and received conflicting information, and I hope that that's kind of been captured in our records management system, and perhaps we can get some additional information on that, because I think I personally have been through the planning system with, and it's not the simplest thing to navigate. So if we can maybe get a little bit more information on that. Councillor James, you got a question?
Right next door or right behind this building is the Great Lutheran Preschool, is it not? And it has a building literally in the same spot as what?
It is further setback, Councillor James. I went for a drive past this morning.
Okay, so the main component of the complaint is that it's not 1.5 metres from the fence. That is the only determinant that has come before us to get rid of it.
Standard's 4 metres.
Okay, I understand the standard's 4 metres, but I'm saying the only reason that it's coming before council is it's because it's 1.5. And the only justification for denying it is that it's less than the 4 metres from the boundary.
Mr.
Through the chair, in terms of discussions, staff were directed to go back and propose a 3 metre setback. This has come to council because there was no negotiation or agreement on that 3 metre setback. So we were left with no option but to recommend refusal based on the standards adopted by council.
Councillor Shire?
Reiterate what Mrs. Hodgkinson said. I think we just need to work with the people involved with council and move forward with this issue. At the moment, it's just upsetting for both parties. I think we just need to work on a resolution.
So, sorry. The technical process here is that we've been asked to consider a DA, that the recommendation is to deny it. If you want the council, the staff to go and negotiate further, you have to deny the DA as it stands, as it is. If you approve the DA, then that's approved. So my sense of what we're being asked to decide in here is, are we going to accept the recommendation, which is to reject the development application as it stands. And then we can put in place, if you like, a caveat that says open to negotiate to move to a 3 metre setback if that's possible or achievable. But as it stands at the moment, we've got to.
Yeah, I suppose if I can just articulate my concern, Councillor Melo, and I understand that there is obviously a considerable cost for the landowner. If I suppose I'd probably like some verification on the history of advice provided, because if it were me and I'd received advice and I thought I'd followed that advice and then found out that advice was wrong and was going to cost me a significant amount of money, I'd probably have some concerns about that. So I suppose, is there a mechanism in which we can defer the report to a future council meeting and get some more information between now and then?
And perhaps in the meantime, council staff and Mr. and Mrs. Barclay can continue to work together as well.
Yeah, so Councillor James.
The applicant did provide reasons to support the variation of the side boundary setback, given that the house, if moved closer into proximity into the yard, would result in the removal of the only tree in the middle of the yard, but also cover a sewage manhole in the backyard. They can't be expected to do that. Like, there has to be some sort of give here, because if they cover a manhole for sewage and it has to be dug up, that's going to be more of an impact. I just failed to
Councillor Sawyer was first. Sorry, Councillor Miller. And then Councillor James, sorry.
More of a comment, I guess, rather than a question. But I think what we also need to remember as councillors is that we're not the experts in the room here on this stuff, and that we employ a director of planning to be the expert in the room. And as much as I also personally find the planning system horrendous, at the end of the day, there are DCPs and control plans in place for a reason. And respectfully, if the process had been followed correctly, and I also understand that there may have been some misunderstanding or misguidance in direction here on what was the right procedure, but it is very difficult to do things retrospectively and ensure that it was done right. And so, yes, by moving the house, there was some reasons why the house was put where it was, because it would cover up a manhole. But it's one of those things that this whole process exists for a reason, to ensure that the building size is appropriate, that doesn't cover up a manhole, requires setbacks. So it becomes difficult, I think, for councillors to understand the entire perspective. And personally, I'm not entirely sure that we are best placed to make a determination on this.
Okay.
So just a point.
Councillor Miller, and then I think our team might also.
Well, it's just a point of clarification, is that the 3 metre setback that was proposed didn't cause the covering of the manhole or the removal of the tree.
It says it.
No, that was put by the applicant, but the council assessment was that it wouldn't.
It's clearly
Okay.
within.
General Manager, Ms. Kelly, did you want to provide a comment?
Through you, Mayor, I would like to emphasize the fact that generally in councils, when planning matters come to council, which are highly technical, and that's why it is so challenging to get director of planning in an area. The job of a council is not to assess the matter. The job of a council is only to determine the matter, taking into consideration that the subject matter experts have done their job technically. And so while collaboration is a great thing, and collaboration has occurred, we do have also in our records that this person had used a organization, a company that had assured her that the advice that was given did not require a particular body of work, but actually the company that was being used is based in Queensland, and that organization was not aware of that New South Wales has different planning and development laws. So it would appear that some of the estimations and expectations are a little bit different. And while we acknowledge that it is highly stressful to the person, planning is a matter of principle, and departure at 62% is a precedent that is significant. And therefore, in an environment where a determination is needed as opposed to an assessment, which is done by the planners, it is always recommended that the advice is provided and followed.
Can I just ask a question then on that basis? Because as you'd be aware, ordinarily development applications don't come to council. And in fact, I don't know that I think we've considered one. And that's in my time as a councillor, which is not huge, but a few years. And essentially, as I understand it, we've basically given delegated authority for pretty much everything to be determined at the operational level. What's the reason that, because, yes, you're right, this council doesn't have a huge amount of experience in considering DAs. So, yeah, what is the reason that this particular one has been brought to council?
It's a very fair question, Mayor, through you, Mayor. The reason why this report has come to council is in light of the fact that we all know that our Director of Planning is retiring shortly, and the team is given an opportunity to bring reports to council by way of training while still online. And so we have also a team member that is actually listening how questions and answers are being prepared and provided. So this was an educational piece. It's not necessarily something that we couldn't have done through delegation. We brought it because the departure was so significant and in order to have an educational experience for our team.
Thank you. Okay, councillors, we're in committee of the whole. Do we have a recommendation from the committee of the whole? Does anyone want to move a recommendation from committee of the whole? Councillor Grady? Yes, of course.
Is there any evidence that any paid council authority were complicit in any stages of approval of that development? Is there anything at all?
Through the chair, no. The answer to that is no.
Whether they did or not, there's no evidence of it. Or maybe drawn a long bow there, but yeah.
Councillor Sawyer?
May I ask what you're implying, Councillor McGrady?
Yes.
What I said.
Sorry, are you asking if a council has been part of this determination? A councillor?
I'm asking, was there any evidence of that? Of any councillor, paid council staff, not councillor, paid council staff. I'm sorry if I misquoted there.
Sorry.
Were any paid council staff, is what I meant, that were complicit or gave any assurances to the developers?
Provide any advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's, I suppose, Councillor McGrady, that's what I was referring to earlier when the member of the public suggested that maybe they got some conflicting information. Did someone have a recommendation to move or from committee of the whole? Councillor James?
I'm for moving the development.
I'm for deferring. I do believe we'd be setting a bad precedent.
So you don't have to vote now. If we have a recommendation from committee of the whole, we carry through. Because we've gone into the committee of the whole, we basically have to deal with the recommendation from committee of the whole before we deal, if we make a recommendation with committee of the whole, before we deal with the original staff recommendation, because it doesn't have a mover or seconder at the moment. So, Councillor.
May I ask one more question before this? Through you, Madam Mayor, Mr. Sorry. I'm so sorry. It has gone completely out of my head.
Councillor Hodgkinson, were you going to move a recommendation?
Yeah, I respect where Councillor James is coming from because I respect where you're coming from. I also do believe that we shouldn't be setting a bad precedence either. I would like to see this council be a council that works with our community. So I would like to see this report deferred to allow council staff and Mr. and Mrs. Barclay time to work together. And I understand, I'm not disputing that hasn't happened, but I would
it may result in the same recommendation.
It could result in the same recommendation. It could, but I would like to see both parties work together to reach a solution that is compliant and I'm hoping that that's what you want as well, that is compliant, because that's, you know, the precedents that we're trying to set here. But I just think that's
Okay, so
the
did
right way
you
to
just
go.
move a recommendation? Councillor
Sorry,
Sawyer,
I've remembered my questions.
very quickly, and then we're going to have to keep on going because we're only on report 1.
Of course,
Yeah.
through you, Madam Mayor. Mr Fitzgerald, is there any indication that you might not be able to potentially continue to negotiate and find a potential avenue? Are we wasting time by asking you to continue negotiations with it?
Through the chair, in all honesty, I can't, that'll be up to the applicant. We've already indicated what we would support.
Thank you.
Okay. So do we have a recommendation that we defer to a future council meeting? Is that what your
Go to
recommendation?
future council
Do
meeting
we? Okay.
and encourage the applicant.
Okay.
We can't really do that, can we? I just want to encourage the applicant and council to work together.
Okay. May I get some procedural advice, please, just in terms of, because we haven't moved the staff recommendation, we're committee of the whole. So we just have the recommendation from committee of whole, and then we'll come out of committee of the whole. Councillors can vote on the recommendation from committee of the whole. If that falls away, do we deal with the staff recommendation? Yes. Okay, great. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out the procedure. Okay, so would someone like to move that we come out of committee?
Can we also add
Can we draft this first?
not just to defer it, but the council and the applicant continue to work together for a solution. So that way, when it comes back to council next, they've either
We
worked together
can't
or-
make instructions for a member of the public. We can
Oh.
only provide instruction to the general or
Can I
the
just say that
council.
that's what I.
Yes.
For me, when it comes.
Might
I
I?
think the applicants can hear you.
Yes, I know.
Yes,
I'm just
we
making-
can't instruct the applicant.
That's
But
just what I'd like.
may I also just maybe ask for just some information on what the applicant stated earlier about receiving some conflicting information, and just some verification on that would be appreciated. Okay.
Yeah, because I've had that happen to me too.
I think it's fine just to leave number 1. I think, Ms Eden, are we happy that we defer this report to a future council meeting? I think maybe actually can we specify the next council meeting? Is that amenable, Mr Fitzgerald? Because I think this is something that we need to, for everyone's benefit, get a result on, understand where everyone stands. So if that's achievable,
Yes.
I just think we should give it a date so that we're not kicking this down the can down the road forever. Okay, so would someone like to move we come out of committee of the whole? Councillor Castle, seconded Councillor Ty. All those in favour?
Aye.
Right, declared carried. We have a recommendation from committee of the whole. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Oh, sorry, I'm going too fast for the maker. We go very slowly and then we suddenly go fast.
To reject the existing.
No, because it's a recommendation. We don't have a mover for it yet. We've got a committee of the whole recommendation. Would someone like to move the committee of the whole recommendation? And councillors have the option to vote against the committee of the whole. Councillor Hodgkinson seconded Councillor Sawyer. I'll put, do you want to speak to it, Councillor Hodgkinson?
I think I spoke.
You're
on
good,
that, didn't
Councillor
I?
Sawyer? Okay, any speakers against the recommendation? I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
I declare, actually, we need to count because it's a DA.
Yep.
Can I have a show of hands, please? All those in favour? Got that? I declared carried. Yes, and yes. I believe they were. No. Sorry, all those against? Yep, declared carried. Oh, are you against, councillor?
Yes.
Were you against?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Declared carried. Thank you. Thank you to the Barclays. Okay, we will move on
Must be allergic to you, Mr Fitzgerald.
to our next report.
Councillors would like to refresh their board view. It'll reset the agenda, removing exemption clauses.
Thank you. It's lovely.
Okay. Right, so we're going to 17.2 being the BESS, draft voluntary planning agreement.
It's done by
It was done by exception. Okay.
Ugh.
No, we're up to 16.2, 16.1.
16.1 was done by 16
Oh, sorry, 16.2.
yes, 16.2 councillor induction wrap up. No,
Oh, no, it was
sorry, can we
resented.
just have a bit of order, please, councillors? We're not in committee of the whole anymore. 16.2 being the councillor induction wrap up. Mr. Stoneman, this report, no, Ms. Cowley.
Through you, Mayor. Yes, this is a report using the data that we've had during the council induction period of and after the council's elections in September. We have attempted to make adjustments after the earlier discussion in the week where some of the attendances had been inadvertently missed. And it shows a visibility of the councillor attendance on the induction courses that were provided by council.
Thank you, Ms. Cowley.
Yes,
Councillor Hodgkinson.
on the Redmonds one, I can't see an updated one yet. The Redmonds one still has a number of us noted as not undertaking the training, but we've undertaken the training virtually.
Okay. General Manager, would you like to update the recommendation?
Sure, through you, Mayor. Okay, fair enough. Sorry about that. That council update the records for Redmond's participation.
Councillor Ty.
Can I just state who done the training via video link? So that was me and Councillor Mailer as well. So it's updated. State who done it by video link.
Okay.
Me, Councillor Mailer and Councillor Hodgkins.
Okay, so we've got an updated recommendation from the General Manager. Would someone like to move that updated recommendation? So that, well, do we say we probably still need to adopt it though, don't we?
That's just for information.
Oh, just for information?
Information.
Okay, all right, fine. Okay, someone move the recommendation? Councillor Mailer, seconded Councillor Ty. All those in favour? Aye. Aye, declared carried. Thank you.
So are we still noting it?
That's why I just said that. Did we say note the report? No, that we're updating the report.
That's very good. We're just setting it in there.
Okay, now we have to remove it. I think you just moved to a very quick amendment there, Councillor Mayor. I loved how swift you were there. So you're accepting your amendment, and Councillor Ty, you accepting his amendment, and then I'll put it and declared carried. Thank you. Thank you. That was a very swift amendment there, Councillor Mayor. Okay. So now we go to 18.1. Am I correct? Being the village landfills upgrade to waste transfer stations. Mr. Malone? Are we waiting on the staff member?
Report relates to recommending the acceptance of a grant for the conversion of the
Binagai.
Yeah, no, it's gone blurry on my screen. So sorry. For the Binagai landfill to a transfer station using funding from the Consolidation Environmental Improvement Program 5 in order to address the lack of room and the environmental control issues that we have at that location. We also require a specific resolution allowing the General Manager to gain landowner consent from Crown Lands to enable a development application to be submitted to upgrade the Binagai transfer station and decline a further grant opportunity for the grass side as we didn't have sufficient internal resources, budget and personnel to carry out that project anymore.
And also that we will be bringing back a further report to council to outline the issues around all of the landfill and potential waste transfer opportunities for council in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Councillors, were there some questions regarding this report? Councillor Hodgkinson?
Not a question. I was the one that dissented because I know that there's been community upset regarding switching to transfer stations. So I just wanted it to be discussed so that way the community has that transparency.
I would maybe suggest, can we add a point two, that the designs for the Binagai transfer back to council for consideration, just because noting that Pallamallawar has moved from a landfill to a transfer station, and the design there has not been received well by the community. And so I think we just may need to make sure that we draw on those learnings and have a better design for Binagai. So if we can just include in that motion, perhaps, that the design specifically for the Binagai transfer station comes back to council, please. Sorry, so a point, four, council for consideration. We'll just, thank you. If we just do brought instead of bought, please. Okay, is someone happy to move? Councillor Williams, do we have a seconder? Councillor Sawyer, all those in favour? Aye, declared carried. Councillors, may I also just ask, when we vote, can you make sure you actually do say aye? You do need to actually vote. Thank you. I can hear Councillor Castles loud and clear on the recording. You're a very good voter.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on now to report 19.1, being the outcome of expressions of interest for the community representation on council advisory committees. If councillors want to discuss the particulars of the committee members and discuss which committee members we would like to appoint to this, it does mean we would need to go into closed session.
Definitely.
So Councillor Castles, are you moving that we go into closed session to discuss the particulars of the nominees?
Yes.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Ty. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Declared carried. If there, well voted, Councillor Sawyer, loud and clear. If there's anyone online watching at the moment, this does mean that you will see a blank screen for a little bit while we go into closed council, just to consider this report, and then we'll be back after that report's been considered. So we might just read out the result of that recommendation, the resolution. Recording back on. Are we not? So General Manager, can you just read the resolution, please, from closed council?
Through you, Mayor, agenda items 19.1, outcome of the expression of interest. Community representation.
Big Sky Libraries Committee.
Big Sky Libraries Committee. Council resolved that council notes the outcome of the expressions of interest process. And number 2 determines that the following community members serve on the Big Sky Libraries Committee: Christy Baker and Sarah Pearce.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, General Manager. We now move on to report 19.4. Do we have Mr. Probert? Welcome, Mr. Probert.
Thank you, and through the chair, the report 19.4 is the presentation of council's draft 2025 financial statements and the statutory obligation for council to refer those to audit. The draft statements are, of course, attached, comprising both the general purpose financial statements and special purpose financial statements. To do as detailed in the report, a very quick, I suppose, overview of the result. As we had discussed through the monthly financial reports to council during the year, we were expecting a deficit for the 2025 financial year. From a consolidated point of view and each of the individual funds, comprising general fund, water and sewer fund, the total deficit was $8.6 million, roughly 5 million in general fund, 1.1, 1.2 in water fund, and about 2 million in sewer fund. So I suppose the high level reasons for those significant deficits in those funds. We look at sewer fund, we had about $3 million worth of unplanned expenditure in the sewer fund during the course of the year, and that was for the sewer fund's contribution to the remediation of Ron Harbour Oval. So excluding that, it would have been very close to the original budget of roughly the $800,000, $900,000 surplus. From a water fund point of view, the $1.2 million worth of deficit there. Combination of two major things. Firstly, it's about $800,000 less in user charges than we originally budgeted or anticipated. Now, when it comes to user charges for the water fund, from a budget point of view, we do historical averages. So we budget, 8 to 10 year average consumption, and we use that for our base. Last year was 10 to 15% under from a consumption point of view, which equates to the majority of that under budget amount for the water consumption and the deficit result. There was also a higher than anticipated depreciation expense for the water fund. That was about 250,000 additional than budgeted. That was primarily a flow on from the last year's revaluation of water assets and a lot of additional assets that were put into the asset register due to that. So that's the two main things for water fund. When we're looking at the general fund, the $5 million deficit there, again, as we talked about through the monthly financial reports, the biggest reason there is roughly $3 million under budget for the financial assistance grant. We had budgeted for the similar advance payment in 2025 that we received in 2024, being 85% advance payment. We only received 50% advance payment. So out of that $5 million, $3 million of that is the FA grant. A couple of other high level reasons, salaries and wages or employee costs. From an organisational point of view, is about 7.5% increase year on year from 24 to 25. A couple of reasons for that. We did have some one-off termination payments through the 2025 financial year, which have spiked that. Also, from a capital works point of view, there was less staff time spent on capital works and more staff time on operating works, which has increased our salaries and wages budget from a operating point of view. All of that was a couple of $1 million increase in the salaries and wages budget for general fund for those reasons. There was some discussion previously too about council's loans. Happy to do a very quick overview of those as well. As reported in the statements, we have $37.5 million worth of outstanding loan balances. Now the
Follow-along question.
Oh, yeah, councillor Stewart.
Tell me where I should be.
we're looking at the attachment.
Yes,
So we just dealt with
GPFs.
Sorry, before we delve into loans, can we just revert back to the capital works? Because I think it's important that the community knows that in the last financial year, we did achieve significant capital works, but that the staff time was lower because of the contractors' involvement in that. I just think that's important for the community to understand as well.
Yeah, so when it's $34.2 million worth of capital works last year, compared to $20 million a year before. So yes, a significant increase, but yes, the mix definitely changed between council staff and contractors.
B2 point which?
Yeah. So if we're looking at the results by fund, I'll find it myself. It is page 59 of the financial statements. So there is page number in the bottom right, I believe, from the financial statements.
21 of 86 with that, the 86 pages?
Yep. Yeah, 59 of 86. So that details the individual results by fund.
Thank you.
2.3 for sewer, 1.3 for water, and 4.9 for general fund.
Income statement by fund, thank you.
Yep. So we'd be happy to move on to the loans. Yep. So yes, the statements report the $37.5 million worth of outstanding principal for our loaned portfolio. That ranges over, I believe, 31 separate loans. 31 separate loans with maturity dates of those loans ranging 2026 through to 2044. The oldest loans that we have were drawn down in 2006.
Wow.
With the majority of those, if not all of them, I think, that were drawn down in 2006 are actually maturing this year.
Right.
We do have 8 out of those 31 loans that are maturing this financial year that they will be fully paid off. And we are looking at, out of that 37 million, about $3 million in principal repayments this financial year. So that will bring that obviously down roughly a little bit less than 10%. That figure excludes the gateway line of credit. Again, as discussed in previous reports, that will be a separate report back to council early in the calendar year. We do anticipate probably at least $1 million or thereabouts reduction in that line of credit as well. So potentially the 3 plus up to another $1 million in reduction this year. And then going forward, we do see roughly $1 to $1.5 million reduction in principal balance each year going forward. So whilst it's relatively positive from that point of view, that we have had multiple years now without new borrowings, and again, nothing budgeted currently in this year for any new borrowings. So
That's what you said.
When was the last borrowings? When was the last time council took out a loan?
3, 4 years ago.
Thank
Yep,
you.
yep.
Being for
Just grab the list now.
the Bendigo Water Project.
To our term, wasn't it?
It's a loan for water fund.
Okay, so a water loan.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Right.
I suppose the last point to deal with loans is out of that that total that we're talking about, the 37, $9 million is water fund. So, roughly, $28 million sitting in general fund. So, 1/4 of the loans, a little bit more, is water fund.
Water. Yes. Right. The questions, councillors? No. I think our financials are due to the Office of Local Government, is it end of October?
Yep.
So this gives enough time for our auditors to carry out their work. Yeah, and just noting that in prior years we have had qualified financial statements. What are we thinking that's a risk this year, or are we hoping this is the year that we no longer have qualified financial statements?
3 years. Yes, last year they removed the qualification from the closing balances. So they were happy that the asset revaluations and the other processes that we did remove the qualifications from that. The only reason it stayed last year was because of the opening balances. So with, fingers crossed, knock on wood, there is no major issues that we're aware of that could cause a qualification at this point in time, because we resolved those issues with the revaluations last year. So yes, it's anticipated we'll be having no qualifications on the 2025 statements.
Okay, so in comparison to future years, I think in terms of our performance, look, it's not where we would ordinarily like it to be, but it's been due to some pretty extenuating circumstances to do with our federal government grants coming in at a different time. So we will still receive that money, Mr. Pratt. I imagine we already have received that money. It's just that they chose to pay us at a different time. And then on top of that, I suppose council had limited way to budget for remediation of Ron Harborne and the asbestos cleanup there. So just for benefit for any community members who are listening or online, what the team are referring to is some years ago, council, quite a few years ago, I believe maybe 20 years ago, council did a project where the material from that project was deposited next to Ron Harborne Oval, not actually at Ron Harborne Oval. However, that material contained asbestos, and the cost of remediating that asbestos and cleaning up that site has been borne by the current council, despite this happening a very long time ago. And so it was an expenditure, I suppose, that could have been reasonably foreseen, but that's now been closed off, has it, General Manager? That work has now been done. Yeah.
Through the mayor, yes, this amount of money has been brought up and closed off by council. It has been a really sad event where we were actually looking fairly positive to be in a situation of being very close to break even, but obviously the timing of the grant was unforeseen. The sewer was unforeseen, and I guess a celebratory point is that
I was getting to those.
The capital expenditure has been at a record high. This council has never had a capital delivery at the size of what it did deliver last year, at $34 million. And so that is actually, irrespective of the fact that we do have a massive Shire with lots of work that's yet to be done, that is actually for a council of our size, we are kicking way above our capability to have delivered that much.
Well done. Well done.
Well done.
Yes.
If I may just point out a couple of other positives.
Yes.
From that point of view, yes, we had a very large capital works program. We have still maintained a $5 million unrestricted cash balance at the end of the year. So considering a lot more cash outflow than we normally got, that's quite positive. We have achieved $5 million reduction in liabilities over the course of the last 12 months. So that's positive from a balance sheet point of view. And we did have almost a $3 million increase in depreciation from year to year.
Yeah.
And we have managed to factor that in.
Wow.
And we're still budgeting surplus budgets going forward. So again, it's positive. Whilst the result isn't, the rest of the stuff that hangs on the statements is quite pleasing from a financial point of view.
And I'd also like to add, pleasing that we're dealing with this report in a standard ordinary council meeting, not in an extraordinary council meeting, as has happened at times. So we're obviously working on a much better time frame, and so that gives me great comfort, and also that we are really hoping that we won't be looking at a qualified result. So well done, and would someone like to move the report? Yep, Councillor Castles, Councillor Mailer. Councillor Castles, do you want to speak to it?
Brilliant.
Councillor Mailer, would you want to speak to it? Okay. Any speakers against? No. I'll put the report. All those in favour? Aye. Declared carried. Thank you. Okay.
I'm a woman of many words.
Okay, we move on to 20.1 being the policy review, councillor and councillor staff interaction and policy.
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. Purpose of this report is to seek council's adoption of the draft councillor and council staff interaction policy. Proposed policy is aligned with OLG's model of council and staff interaction policy, which is considered as best practice. Can I say, if you refer to attachment 3 in your report, the actual document is there for your reference. The policy is intended to ensure that councils have the information that they need to perform their duties. The policy also promotes mutual respect between and cooperation between councillors and staff within the organisation. This policy replaces the 22 policy. However, it generally covers much of the same ground as that policy did. However, I'll highlight 4 key points that have changed. Unlike the 22 policy, the 25 policy contains a time frame for staff to respond to councillor requests for information. The default period is 5 business days. Although if staff find that they will not be able to meet that 5 days, we're obliged to go back to the respective councils and advise them of the most appropriate time that we will be able to address your questions. Second point, to promote accountability and transparency, the policy requires staff to present a report in February and July to councillors that addresses the performance in relation to managing councillors' requests. So we are required to produce a report in February and July. Under the 22 policy, councils had approval to contact the GM and directors, while contact with other staff, including managers, required the support of the general manager or the general manager's consent. The 25 policy approves councillors contacting the general manager, directors, and now managers to request information. The 25 policy also codifies councillors' rights in relation to accessing the chamber, meeting rooms, councillors' retreats, etc. The reason why I mention this is because it hasn't been or was not consistent in the previous or was pretty silent in the previous code. That's it.
Okay, councillors.
I like it.
Councillor Sawyer.
Just a point of clarity, if I'm understanding it correctly, so councillors are still allowed to approach director, but not managers? Is that what it's like?
And approach managers as well.
Okay, thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, sorry.
No, you're right.
Sorry, through you, madam.
Councillors, any questions, comments? No, I've just, look, I probably haven't had time to go through in detail the difference between the model code and the proposed one. There are some provisions which are optional, obviously, in the model code. Can you tell me the one that's optional, that councillors may request a staff member be present at a meeting other than a meeting of council for the purpose of providing advice to the meeting? Has that been included in ours or not?
Take that on notice.
Yeah, I'm asking about that one in particular, just because, for instance, there are meetings that our councillors are attending where I believe that would be value. For instance, the Boggabilla Community Advisory Group meeting, I think that would be valuable to have a staff member attend that. So is it currently in ours? Yeah. Sorry, I was just checking because I just noticed it's an optional one and I just haven't had a chance to properly marry them. Yes.
Through you, Mayor, yes, it is in this document.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Councillor Naylor.
I don't really have a question, as a comment. That in their document, as I see it, access to staff is contingent on it being relevant to councillors being able to actually perform their duties. I'm reasonably satisfied that that's appropriate, but there are times when there'll be a robust discussion around justifying that potentially, from time to time, and I guess I see that the document is workable, but I just wanted to be clear that I do think that we do need a reasonable amount of access, even sometimes below manager level, and seeking approval for that access is reasonable. Because we do need to understand more about how things are working sometimes. And I think the roads discussion is relevant to that point really well. So as I'm sitting on the roads committee, I think we need a lot more vision into how things are working so that we can talk strategically about how they might change over time, which speaks to the mayoral minute as well. So it's really just a comment. I'm actually satisfied the document can do that, but maybe we need to discuss more about, what our needs might be, and I'm happy to do that through the executive leadership team as well.
Good. Councillors, other questions, comments? No? All right. So if we're comfortable, so this one doesn't need to go on public display, Mr. Stoneman? Okay. Someone like to move? Councillor Sawyer, seconded? Yeah. Councillor Castles, all those in favour? Aye. Aye. Declared carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stoneman.
Thank you, Mr. Stoneman.
Whoever else was involved. The rest of our reports on our agenda are all confidential. Do we have anyone online at the moment? Yes, I just want to explain. So we've got a handful of reports that are confidential. They are the Audit Risk Improvement Committee chairperson. That one would be deemed confidential because it is considering the particulars of an individual, a personnel matter. And then the Moree Civic Precinct project contract and procurement update, that would be considered confidential because it's commercial in confidence information from contractors. Which is the same as the next report, being the Moree Tennis Clubhouse reinstatement. The water charges write-off for Industrial Drive is also considered confidential because
because the amount of money that we're providing, and we are identifying the party and
personal particulars.
Yes.
Yes. The organisation structure is confidential.
Because it is a matter for individuals that would be involved in
Yes.
personnel.
And then expression of interest to purchase Moree sale yards again pertains to commercial in confidence information. So anyone who's online or listening, there will be a break in our meeting while the council considers all of these matters, and then we will return to open council and the general manager will read out the resolutions. So with that, would the council like to move that we go into closed council, please? Councillor Ty, seconded. Councillor McGrady, all those in favour? Aye. Declared carried. Thank you. Okay. Back in open council, General Manager, could you please read out the resolutions from closed council, please?
Mayor, item 22.1, confidential Moree Civic Precinct Project Contract and Procurement Updates. Council resolved that council note the confidential report for information and accept that since 2021, over $1.7 million had been spent on the contractors listed in the confidential section of this report on mechanical, hydraulic, electrical and audiovisual services for the Moree Civic Precinct project, and the project is still incomplete with as yet unconfirmed costs still to be incurred. Item 22.2, confidential Moree Tennis Club House reinstatement. Council resolved that number one, pursuant to section 55(3)(I) of the Local Government Act 1993, resolves not to invite tenders for works to reinstate the Moree Tennis Club House due to extenuating circumstances, being that council's insurer has performed the tender process for these works. Number two, reconfirms the tendered prices with the two preferred contractors given the time between the initial procurement process. And number three, gives delegated authority to the General Manager pursuant to section 377 of the Local Government Act to execute the contract for the Moree Tennis Clubhouse reinstatement works with the successful contractor. Council resolved item 22.3, confidential water charges write-off Industrial Drive, that council approve a debt write-off of $16,123.13 to the water and sewer funds for assessment number 2445 Industrial Drive, Moree. Council resolved item 22.4, confidential organisational structure, that council, number one, receive the report for information, and number two, adopt the directorate organisational structure as per attachment number one. Council resolved item 22.5, confidential expression of interest to purchase Moree sale yards, that council, number one, endorsed the sale of 21 Tapscott Street, Moree, being the former Moree livestock sale yards, by the process of direct negotiation with LDC Enterprises Australia Pty Ltd and an ABN of 13003415,950. Number two, delegate to the General Manager to negotiate a sale price in respect of 21 Tapscott Street in Moree. And number three, receive a further report on the outcome of negotiations between Moree Plains Shire Council and LDC Enterprises Australia Pty Ltd. And council adopted, resolved on item 21.1, confidential Audit Risk Improvement Committee Chairperson. Council resolved that number one, council notes that applicant A has declined the offer of appointment to the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee as resolved by council at the ordinary council meeting on 21 August 2022. Number two, appoints applicant B as the interim chairperson of the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee for the AREC meeting scheduled on 25th September 2025. And number three, receives a further report at the ordinary council meeting on 16th of October 2025 to appoint a permanent AREC chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you very much, General Manager. Thank you very much, councillors and staff. That brings our meeting to a close. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Friends today.
Thank you, minute takers and IT.